Hello, and welcome to week 6 of our Trauma-Informed Yoga for Better Sleep series. Today we'll be doing a restorative yoga practice. And to start, you will need a bolster or a large pillow that you can use for support, as well as a couple of blocks that you can take underneath your bolster. One on the low setting, one on the medium setting. And feel free to get those props and pause this video in order to get settled in. And when you're ready, we'll begin. So once you have your bolster or pillow with your block set up, you're going to bring the base of the bolster towards the sacrum low back area. Begin to lie yourself down onto your props. Shoulders are going to open, arms resting at the sides. You might stretch your legs long on your mat, or you might have your knees bent. Or if you prefer, you can come to a butterfly, drawing soles of the feet together and having a little bit of a hip opener here. Any of these forms are welcome as we start our practice today. This is meant to be a supportive, restorative, and comfortable posture. So take whatever adjustments you need in order to truly settle in. And when you do, I invite you to welcome yourself to this sacred space and sacred time. As you connect with your breath, begin to breathe towards the diaphragm and belly space. Expand through your lungs. Take slower exhalations, making them as easeful as you can today. Allow yourself to be completely supported here. Your mind to rest. As you settle in here, you're welcome to continue to focus on your breath or just allow your mind to be lulled away. You can also listen to the words of a poem. We'll be reading a couple of poems by Becky Hemsley. And this first one is called Breathe. She sat at the back, and they said she was shy. She led from the front, and they hated her pride. They asked her advice, and then questioned her guidance. They branded her loud, then were shocked by her silence. When she shared no ambition, they said it was sad. So she told them her dreams, and they said she was mad. They told her they'd listen, then covered their ears, and gave her a hug, whilst they laughed at her fears. And she listened to all of it, thinking she should be the girl they told her to be, best as she could. But one day she asked what was best for herself, instead of trying to please everyone else. So she walked to the forest and stood with the trees. She heard the wind whisper and dance with the leaves. And she spoke to the willow, the elm, and the pine. And she told them what she'd been told, time after time. She told them she never felt nearly enough. She was either too little or far, far too much. Too loud or too quiet. Too fierce or too weak. Too wise or too foolish. Too bold or too meek. Then she found a small clearing surrounded by firs, and she stopped, and she heard what the trees said to her. And she sat there for hours, not wanting to leave, for the forest said nothing, it just let her breathe. Take time to just breathe here. To know all of you is welcome just as you are. As you become ready, you might begin to get a little motion in the legs. You might draw the soles of the feet to the mat and windshield wiper your knees from side to side, or begin to walk your feet to the outer edges of the mat and allow your knees to fall in towards one another, pausing here for several breaths. Good. As you become ready, just begin to allow your knees to fall over to the right side, taking a couple of moments here. And then taking the knees over to the left side. A few moments here as well. Whenever you feel complete, you can take a full breath in and out and slowly begin to roll over to one side of your body, coming off of your props and taking time to cradle around your heart space for a moment. If you are showing up today with an intention, just bring that to your mind. Allow that to stay steady in your mind. And then begin to shift yourself up and towards your bolster, towards your props and your blocks. And we're going to come into a form called supported child's. So from here, you're just going to take, like you would a normal child's posture. You can remove the blocks to the side if that feels better to you. Bring the bolster close in, big toes touching, and begin to walk your heart space down, resting it on the bolster. Feel free to face one side or the other. And you can even have your hands alongside the bolster or perhaps wrapping around the top, giving it a little hug. Allowing yourself to be nourished and nurtured here, supported and held. Allow your breath to fill not only your heart space, but towards your back body, allowing the low back to release as much as it can. And offer yourself loving kindness in these following moments and in this posture with your breath, your mind, and your intention. In Becky Hemsley's poem, What I Learned, she said, I learned from my mother that women are strong, that life can be difficult, but we go on. She taught to be soft on those finding life hard, to help protect those who've already been scarred, to work when I need, but otherwise play, that night time's for dreaming, but so is the day. To be gentle with those who are tough on themselves, to share out my love, but save some for myself, to only apologize when I am wrong, to know there is always a place I belong, to trust in my future and to treasure my past, to smash it each time that the ceiling is glass, to find the lessons in relationships lost, because some things in life are not worth what they cost. But what she taught most about life and of worth is that it is only the best I deserve. And maybe your mother has taught you the same, but if she has not, well, then I'm here today to say that you too deserve only the best, to live out the life that exists in your head, to find your own strength and to dream and stand tall, to trust you might fly when you think you could fall. So never stop dreaming and never give up. And trust me on this, you are worthy of love. Rest in that knowing, dear friend, you are worthy of love. I invite you to inhale to a slow count of 4 and exhale, sighing that breath out. And then begin to lift from your fold, walking the hands back, lifting up the upper body. And from here, we're going to begin to face the left hip over to the bolster, bringing the bolster towards the outside of the left hip. Now, if you need to scoot the left hip back away from the bolster, that's okay. And then you might begin to fold over the bolster, either with your heart space resting on the bolster or with the side of your body resting on the bolster. Feel free to find whichever form is most comfortable to you here, allowing your left arm just to hug around your pillow or bolster. Hips are stacked, feet are at ease. Knees might be bent. And once again, there is no right or wrong here in the legs. Just allow your body to be supported and comfortable as we take some time here. And as we spend another minute or so here, the invitation is just to allow yourself to be, perhaps listen to the music of your playlist, if you have one going. Just allow your mind to be drawn back to this present moment, guiding it to your intention, your breath, the support beneath you. And each time your mind wanders, it is an opportunity to graciously notice this, normalize it as a human experience, and return it to the gift of the here and the now. When you're ready, you can lift your upper body up as we begin to switch sides. You'll begin to take your right outer hip to the edge of the bolster, facing over the bolster and perhaps walking yourself down, lying your heart towards it, or perhaps scooting a little bit away from the bolster if you need that, and walking down to where your side body rests on the bolster. And just begin to allow yourself to find that spot where you're comfortable and supported. Allowing your right arm to come alongside the outside of your prop, perhaps hugging around it or just allowing it to rest. And just as before, we'll take a couple of minutes here, taking time to allow the mind and body to restore as you simply breathe and simply be. Slowly take a full breath in and out here. And as you become ready, you can slowly begin to use your hands to push yourself up, lift up the upper body, and then begin to face towards your bolster or pillow or whatever prop you have, and begin to reach for your blocks again. You might take one or both blocks underneath your bolster. We're going to come into a butterfly around the bolster. So you'll just scoot up to the base of it, drawing the soles of the feet together and beginning to maneuver your blocks to a place where it is supporting your prop and at a height that is comfortable for you to lie down on. And so you can begin to explore lowering the upper body, coming to the side of the face, the forehead, or the other side of the face. And if you are needing some extra height here, you can either take your blocks higher or you can reach for another pillow, perhaps get a few stacked blankets to give you that extra lift and support before lying down and resting your head and upper body. So take your time here getting settled. And then allow your breath to steady once you get into the form that is most restful for you and most supportive. In her poem Still I Rise, Maya Angelou writes, "You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room, just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high. Still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard? You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. When you're ready, you can begin to take another full breath in and out, coming to the symbolism of this as you rise, lifting yourself up, taking your legs on the outer edges of your bolster, pillow, props. And we're going to take this dragonfly stance with legs outstretched to the sides. And once again, begin to fold down towards your pillows, towards your supports. There's a quote that says that life is a balance of holding on and letting go. And that truth is the same in our yoga practice. Often the lessons of yoga are more about what we learn on the inside than what we're doing on the outside. And it's through these postures that we can learn. We can learn where our limitations are and that balance of accepting where we are today, taking it a little bit more easily, backing out of a posture, or pushing ourselves further than we thought we could go. Oftentimes, our limitations are not what we think they are. They are often obstacles and boundaries that we have unintentionally formed in our mind. And sometimes it just takes pushing past those to recognize that we have more in us than we think we do. That those fears that were holding us back were just an illusion planted there by any array of possibilities, maybe even conjured up on our own, but that we can come to a place of freedom and truly find that balance of when it's time to hold on and when it's time to let go. As you take your next few breaths here and next few moments, I invite you to notice and perhaps name in your mind which part of that are you being called into, or which part may need a little extra love and growth, holding on or letting go. When you're ready, you can slowly begin to deepen your breath here and lift from your fold. And slowly begin to come away from your props and windshield wiper your knees to the left and to the right if you need that. Do that a couple of times on each side. You might even pause on one side for a few breaths and then on the other side. And then you can begin to sit up in a comfortable position as you shift your props into a legs up the bolster. So in order to do that, you will set your blocks towards the back of your mat on the medium height, and then place your bolster or your pillow or your blankets on top of those blocks. And you'll scoot your sitting bones close to that as you take your legs on top of your prop. Feel free to use any additional pillows or blankets underneath your head for support. And allow the blocks and bolster to be underneath the knees. So this should really help to release any low back strain and allow your legs to be supported. And if you ever need, you can add a little bit of height underneath your back body if it's not comfortable to come flat down on your back. That's always welcome and an option. And I invite you here in this moment just to give yourself internal gratitude. You might place one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly as you do this. As you thank yourself for showing up, for giving yourself permission, for self-care, for rest, for taking time and slowing down. Taking time to notice what's in the present. Filling up your cup. And offering yourself that same loving kindness as we've done before. And appreciating and valuing the lessons learned along the way who have made you who you are and who you are becoming. At your time, you can remove your legs from your props, take the soles of the feet down towards the mat, and then begin to turn over to your side body in order to lift yourself back up to a comfortable seated space. From here, you can begin to take your blocks over to the side and then find your pillow that can go underneath your head and then your larger pillow or bolster. Now the larger prop is going to go in between the shins and the calves, the knees and the feet, so the lower legs. It'll come up through the upper legs as well, just a little bit. But feel free to adjust it to where it is comfortable to you, just like in the other forms. And we will rest in this side lying position. At any point in time, if you need to shift or alter the stance, you can. And for now, just allow your exhalations to help you soften your muscles, any constriction you find, and to melt down into the earth. recalling any of your points of gratitude, intention, or words that have stood out to you through our practice and time together thus far today. Any of the words from these wise women and fellow sisters on this journey of life. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. At your time, you can guide yourself up from this position and begin to make your way to the other side. So you'll begin to flip over to the opposite side that you were lying on and begin to take your bolster or your prop once again in between the knees and the shins and the feet, and your pillow underneath your head if you would like that option. And we'll take a couple of minutes here on this side. If your mind has started to drift away, gently draw your attention back to this room and the space around you. And begin to remove any of the props that you have as you turn over, coming to your back body. Begin to stretch your legs long on the mat in front of you, arms out at your sides. And feel free to begin to roll your ankles or point and flex your feet. And at your time, you are welcome to take any supportive form that would feel right for Shavasana, our final resting form for you here. You might just take a bolster or pillow under your knees. You might turn over to either side of your body. Or you can feel free to take any of the restorative forms that we've done throughout this practice. Just begin to make your way to that space and shape. And once you have found yourself settling in to that position, you might begin to steady your breath as you release any tension that you find between your eyebrows or around your eyes, as you soften your facial muscles and release your jaw away from the roof of your mouth. Allow your head and shoulders to be heavy and supported, your heart space open and free, and your belly space soft and unrestricted. Your arms and legs are completely supported here. And your hands and fingers, feet and toes, effortless and at ease as we practice the art of sacred rest and of surrender. I invite you to slowly begin to deepen your breath and to make any slight motion that may be comfortable to you, such as wiggling your fingers and toes, or taking your head slowly side to side. And when you're ready, you can begin to guide yourself back to a comfortable seated position as we draw our hands together at heart center. And I invite you to take a final full breath in here and full breath out. Take a moment to recall any intention you had for your practice, any words that stood out for you, points of gratitude, and any of the benefits of your practice today, whether internal or external. And then take a moment to reflect on how you can take these with you on your journey off the mat. And I thank you for sharing in this practice with me today. Grace and peace be with you always. Shalom and namaste.